Hello, I'm back. This is Robert Reich. It is Easter Sunday, April 8th, 2007. The big economic news this week, I don't know if you heard it, because the administration was putting out a lot of positive economic news, and all the cheerleaders on Wall Street were talking about the fact that indeed it is true, wages went up a little bit and unemployment went down a little bit. But the biggest news is the Federal Reserve Board announced that consumer debt has reached an all-time high of $2.41 trillion. Never before in history that high. Consumers are tapped out. They can't get any more money. Their credit cards are just about tapped out. Their housing bubble has burst, so they can't get more consumer equity out of their homes. And that means consumer spending is going to come to a screeching halt. We don't know exactly when, but my guess is this time, sometime in 2007, we're going to have a recession. Better than 50-50 possibility, unfortunately. You ought to know about this. And Earth to the Federal Reserve Board, cut interest rates before it is too late. Big political news. This week was the revelation that Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign had raised for her presidential campaign $26 million. Now, of course, about $10 million of that came from her senatorial campaign. It was just moved over to her presidential campaign. That is still extraordinary. $16 million for the presidential campaign from 50,000 donors. Now, Barack Obama then announced, and this was an extraordinary announcement, $25 million. That's $25 million to Hillary Rodham Clinton's $16 million. And Barack Obama, not 50,000 contributors, but 100,000 contributors. They are going like gangbusters, and Barack Obama is actually in the lead by these tallies, but both of them are leaving the Republicans in the dust. Never before in history, at least in my recollection, have Democrats done so well, so far outraised Republicans in money, in the money sweepstakes. And obviously politics is not all about money, but it is something about money, and we're seeing something brand new. Why is that? Republicans are scratching their heads. Why is it that we are not raising enough money and the Democrats are running off with it? Well, there's a simple answer, and it's called the Bush administration, and Iraq, and the economy, and things like Walter Reed, and Abu Ghraib, and Katrina. And people remember this, and there's an accumulative outrage. People don't want, whether they are Republicans or Democrats or independents, they do not want another Republican in the White House. And that's what we are seeing, folks. I just returned from Europe, and a lot of Europeans I would meet would say something to me like the following. Bashvat is with new to Bashvat. The Bukarit to Badat, Bashvin, Bashvat or Rukut. Make it a little bit bush, Gasvit, the show, Bakalf crazy. Now, I didn't know what they were saying because I didn't speak their language most of the time, but I got a translator, and almost all of the Europeans who came up to me said the same thing. They said, we like you, Americans. I mean, we liked you, Americans. We didn't blame Bush's taking over the presidency in 2000 on you, but in 2004, you elected him. You actually elected him, and we began to think that you were as crazy as he is. We now have an opportunity to set the record right, Americans. By the way, I'm not going to give you this week more about my date with Hillary in 1966. I'm going to save that for next time. But don't forget to check into my blog. That's Robert Reich at blogspot.com. Take care, America.